Welcome to More Tales.
Am I the a-hole for leaving my wife after one night of cheating? I am using a throwaway account to conceal my identity. I, 37M, have been married to my wife, 38F, for the past 15 years, and we have a son, 10M, together. Up until recently, our relationship had always been healthy. There were no significant issues and practically no fighting at all. We had a consistent physical connection and engaged in the horizontal tango on a regular basis because we both naturally have a high sex drive. Every few days, I would bring her small gifts to show my appreciation. Most of the time it was a fresh bouquet of flowers, and other times I would surprise her with a nice necklace or fine jewelry like custom earrings. She, on the other hand, kept constantly surprising me by trying out complex recipes and making new dishes for dinner. To anyone looking from the outside, our marriage was about as perfect as it could possibly get. Anyway, a week ago, my wife sat me down with a nervous look on her face and confessed to me that she had hooked up with a random guy at a bar when she went out for drinks. I personally don't drink alcohol, but my wife likes to have a few drinks every now and then. Early in our marriage, we mutually decided that she would not drink at home for the sake of our son, so whenever she wanted a night out, she would go to a local bar for drinks. She came straight to me that night and broke down, telling me everything that had happened and admitting she had made a very big mistake. She told me she was approached by a guy in his mid-20s, got seduced after having too much to drink, and they did it. Hearing her say those words shattered me. I was so angry that she would completely ruin our 15-year marriage just for a bit of fun. She cried hysterically and begged me to understand that she just made one foolish mistake. I couldn't even look at her the same way. I told her right then and there that I was divorcing her because she threw away our entire history. She kept begging and crying, but I held my ground and refused to listen to her excuses. Later, I sat down with my son to explain that his parents were splitting up, keeping things in age-appropriate terms, of course. But he wasn't having it at all. He started sobbing uncontrollably, begging us not to break up. He cried about how he just wants his parents together, to go out for family dinners, to have fun, and to go on vacations as a complete family. Seeing him that heartbroken destroyed me even further. I just hugged him tight and told him that I wouldn't leave him yet. That made him feel instantly relieved and happy, but the core issue between my wife and me was far from fixed. Coming back to my wife, she has been trying her absolute best to make things work between us, but I completely ignore her emotional presence. When she tries to give me affection, if she hugs me, kisses me, or tries to engage in the horizontal tango, I don't passionately participate anymore. I just let her go through the motions for the sake of our son. I refuse to turn our house into a toxic, volatile battleground because I don't want him growing up in an abusive or hostile household. During these moments, she often breaks down crying, begging me not to throw away 15 years of marriage. She insists that she will try her absolute best to keep her family intact no matter what it takes, swearing she is not going to let one drunk mistake break her family and lose the love of her life. My son is currently undergoing therapy to help him process all the stress in the household. I explicitly told my wife my long-term plan. Once our son is emotionally ready, we will officially divorce. I offered a compromise where she can stay at my home so our son doesn't have to move out of his familiar environment. I told her I will visit him every single day after work and help her out around the house as well, but she needs to start looking for a job so she can be independent. I plan to find a place nearby for myself. I also agreed that we will not tell anyone outside the immediate family about her infidelity to protect everyone's privacy. Instead of accepting this, she started crying uncontrollably again and begged me not to break our marriage. She went behind my back to our parents and family, telling them what was happening. Now, our families are constantly reaching out and begging me to give her another chance. Some of them are actively calling me out for breaking the family apart and telling me to think about our son's future. Her siblings and parents are completely furious at me for breaking the family and putting my wife through so much emotional pain. They keep saying that my wife has always been a good and faithful wife to me, that she just made a single mistake, and that she deserves another chance to make things right. So, am I the a-hole if I leave her without giving my wife another chance? Everyone keeps saying we will come out stronger if I just give it a chance, but that if it still doesn't work out later, I can leave then. Update. So my wife continued to beg and cry, but I stood my ground about our divorce after she cheated on me. I wasn't interested in arguing anymore because we'd already gone over everything several times. My decision hadn't changed, even though it was obvious she was falling apart emotionally. Today, though, something happened that I wasn't expecting. She fainted twice. The first time was while she was cooking in the kitchen. I walked in to get a glass of water and noticed she suddenly lost her balance. Thankfully, I was close enough to catch her before she hit the floor. It scared both of us. Once she came around, I helped her sit down, gave her some water, and told her not to worry about dinner. I finished cooking for all of us while she rested because she looked completely exhausted. A few hours later it happened again while she was doing the laundry. I heard a loud noise from the other room and rushed over to find her on the floor. At that point I wasn't willing to take any chances, so I drove her straight to the hospital. After examining her, the doctor said there wasn't anything physically wrong and believed the fainting was most likely caused by stress. Hearing that didn't magically fix anything, but it explained why she'd been looking so drained over the last couple of days. On the drive home, she apologized again. She admitted she had made a huge mistake and begged me not to let one drunken decision destroy our family. She said she wished she could undo that night but couldn't, and all she could do now was prove it would never happen again. She reminded me that she had been drunk, was approached by someone else, and allowed herself to make the worst decision of her life. I told her I wasn't making any promises, but if there was going to be even the smallest chance of saving our marriage, there would have to be conditions that she accepted without argument. The first condition was that she could never drink alcohol again. The second was that she wasn't going out by herself unless it was an actual emergency. The third was complete transparency between us, including full access to each other's phones at all times. Those weren't punishments in my mind. They were the minimum requirements if I was ever going to rebuild any trust. The moment I agreed to give our marriage one chance, she completely broke down. She hugged me, kissed me, and couldn't stop crying. It was obvious she hadn't expected me to leave even the slightest door open. I made it clear that none of this erased what happened. I told her she had betrayed me in the worst way possible and that trust wasn't something she could earn back overnight. This wasn't forgiveness. It was simply an opportunity to find out whether our marriage could survive what she'd done. She apologized again and said that if she could go back and change that night, she would do it without hesitation. Since she couldn't, she promised she would spend however long it took proving she meant every word. I told her there was no need to beg anymore because only time and consistent actions would matter from this point forward. After we got home, we sat down with our son and told him we weren't getting divorced after all. His entire face lit up. He started jumping around the house, smiling, and asking if everything was okay now. Seeing him that happy made the atmosphere feel lighter than it had in days, so I took both of them out for dinner that evening. For the first time since everything came out, we managed to sit together without everything feeling completely broken. Later that night we had horizontal tango, but it felt different than before, much better than just her doing everything, but I'm kinda struggling with forgetting everything.
Thank you for visiting More Tales.